The NBA draft is going to get going on Wednesday, June 26th, which is under 2 weeks away, so it's time to look at some updated NBA draft targets for the Miami Heat. We're going to go through and really look at 5 players for the first round, that 15th overall pick for Miami. Then we'll also mention some other names that could be available for that pick, as well as some second-round targets with the Heat selection at 43. But make sure you are following me over on Twitter, the handle at Nic_Rohloff. I'm tweeting about the NBA draft and how it relates to the Heat on a daily basis. I've tweeted out Heat player workouts, who they've been looking at, full list. So if you want to know everything surrounding the Heat and the NBA draft, my Twitter is the best place to do it. And guess what? First 10 people to follow me after this video, get a follow back. All right, let's go into the first target, and this is Devin Carter, the guard/forward who played his ball at Providence a year ago. He actually started his career at South Carolina, by the way. Fun fact about Devin Carter. But to me, he is the best fit for Miami with the 15th overall pick. I have compared him to Josh Hart quite a bit, the way he plays, the way his motor works, his work ethic, the way he just puts his body on the line to get rebounds. I mean, he averaged damn near 9 rebounds a game in the Big East as a 6'2.5" guard. It's just impressive work for Carter. And the latest reports are that the Heat would likely take him if he's there. What do I mean by that? Well, Greg Sylvander reported that Devin Carter's draft camp believes that 15, the Heat selection, is the absolute floor for him to go. So if you just want to take a look at this, this means he's likely going to go prior to that and in the lottery, but if he fell out of the lottery, the Heat would likely scoop him up with the 15th overall pick. And why wouldn't they want this man? This is someone who can do it all for your team. Did not have to be a scorer prior to Bryce Hopkins, who was the best player on Providence, a 20-point-per-game scorer himself. He tore his ACL halfway through the season, and then Carter really had to revamp his play style and become more of a shot creator and scorer, where he was able to do so, averaging 19.7 points per game. He shot efficiently, grabbed, like I said, almost 9 rebounds a game at 6'2", because he has a +6 wingspan at 6'8" and change. Carter is someone who can make a difference on both ends. I'd be ecstatic if the Miami Heat drafted Devin Carter at 15. I believe he will go in the lottery. Teams like the Grizzlies and other teams like the Kings who need win-now type players will likely select Carter prior to the Heat being on the clock at 15, but Carter brings the intangibles, the work ethic, the motor, the shooting, the scoring, the defense to be a massive impact player right away for the Heat. Maybe not at the highest ceiling, but he can be a Josh Hart type role player in the NBA and make an impact for Miami. I'd love him at 15. Someone that I'd be intrigued with as well, Ron Holland, the forward from the G League Ignite. Someone that I've had on my radar as terms of one of the top NBA draft prospects, but I never really thought he'd be a fit in Miami until just a little bit ago. And this one is a little interesting. I'm not going to lie. He has a lot of talent. He has unbelievable athleticism. The potential is there, but he is a little bit of an offensive liability due to his lack of shooting and ability to space the floor. Now, he did come in and work out for Miami prior to the NBA draft. That workout has already happened. Curious to see how that went. But Holland is someone who was the number 1 guy coming into this class. Him and Isaiah Collier were expected to go 1-2 prior to this collegiate season getting underway. Holland has fallen down some boards, but he did a lot of nice things in the G League Ignite system a year ago. He did average 20 points a game in the G League as an 18-year-old. That's impressive. I mentioned the ability for him to defend 2.5 steals a game. He jumps the passing lanes with great athleticism, great burst, change of direction, and the only issue that he really has, though, is the shooting. He can attack the rim. He can finish with amongst the bigs, but he could also finish with thunderous slam dunks in a crowd. The only issue is he has no jumper. Like, terrible. Out of, I believe, the 160, 173s he took, 21 or more just around that range were like either air balls or barely nicking the front rim. Like, he doesn't have good touch. His sometimes goes off target as well. If he's able to figure out his shooting, he could be someone that is an all-star caliber player in the NBA, which is why I am definitely intrigued with him at 15. The size is also something that Heat fans would fall in love with. He likely is projected as a 3 in the NBA, not a 4 or not really a 2, probably that 3 spot, 6'6.5", good wingspan, +4 at 6'10", but he's also got good bunnies and compared to his weight. He's got good size at 196 and a vert of 38 inches. This is an incredible athlete that if he puts everything together could be one of the top players in this class. And that's the thing that's so intriguing with Ron Holland. No one knows his draft range. There was a report last week or so that he could fall out of the lottery and go between 15 and 19. Maybe the Heat pick him up if that's the case. But there's also mock drafts that come out and have him going inside the top 5. I don't think anyone will have a clue on where Ron Holland could go in the NBA draft prior to that Wednesday night in Brooklyn when they get things started at 8 p.m. Eastern time. I would be a big fan if Holland was the name called for Miami with the 15th overall pick, but I am a little skeptical that he'll be there. I would probably place a wager on him going inside the lottery. But drop a name for me. We've talked about 2. We still got a lot of prospects to talk about in today's video, but who do you want the Heat to draft the most at the 15th overall pick? Let me know what prospect you have your eyes on for me in the comment section. Maybe it's Jared McCain, the guard from Duke, who I am really high on and I really enjoy. And he would be one of my favorite guys for the Heat to potentially draft. Jared McCain is my number 1 draft target for the Miami Heat as we get to the first round of the NBA draft. Why? Because when you look at some of these top prospects, I think he is the most likely and has the best chance to be there at pick 15, but also is the best fit and has really solid potential to grow in the NBA. McCain shot above 43% from beyond the arc for Duke in his freshman year. Older prospect a little bit at 20 years old as a freshman, but he can play off ball as a shooter. He is one of the better point of attack defenders as well. Good IQ, plays off 2 feet exceptionally well as he gets into the painted area. I want Jared McCain, and if he's on the board at 15, it would be hard for me to justify Pat Riley in the Heat front office passing up on this Duke shooter. Maybe they do pass him up, though, for Kel'el Ware, the center from Indiana, who a lot of Heat fans have wanted the Heat to go out and grab because he's got great positional versatility and good size to pair behind Bam Adebayo, but also alongside Bam. And Ware is one of the most intriguing prospects for Miami because he does come in at 7 feet tall. He's got a very plus wingspan at 7'4" and change. He's one of the best shot blockers in this draft class, but he's also one of the best scoring centers in the class as well. Averaged 16 a game for Indiana a season ago to go alongside 10 rebounds. Shot 58.6% from the field, not pictured his 43% three-point shooting clip that he shot a year ago. Now, I will say low volume, only 1 and 1.2, 1.3 attempts a game, but the possibility of him being a good spacing three-point shooter for his size is absolutely there for Ware. But the only question that I've had for him, and some scouts have had as well, is his motor. He struggled with that portion of it as a freshman at Oregon. Transferred to Indiana and was better in his sophomore campaign, but there was a lot of plays that people recognized he was taking off, both offensively and defensively. But I'll say this. If Pat Riley, who they had Kel'el Ware in for a workout, by the way, has a good feeling about his motor, his ability to play in this Heat culture, and his work ethic, this could be a no-brainer due to his ability to play alongside Bam and play in a Miles Turner type role that the Pacers have him playing in, but also be the backup center for Bam Adebayo early in his career before potentially pairing up the two in the front court as a starting group. Ware is a very interesting guy that if the motor and work ethic checks out and the front office feels comfortable with it, I'm comfortable with selecting him at 15. Don't miss out. Make sure you are subscribed to us here at the Heat Report because we're the best channel on YouTube for the Heat draft coverage, and we will be live for the NBA draft as well, breaking down the picks prior to Miami in the lottery, the Heat selection, assuming they keep the pick and don't trade it. Hit that sub button right now and lock us in for the rest of the summer. Last player we're going to completely highlight right now is Isaiah Collier, the point guard from USC, who has been mock drafted to the Heat quite a bit in this pre-draft process, and he's someone that the Heat could absolutely use in his position, right? They need a guard, and he's got solid size, 6'2", 6'3", 6'5" wingspan. He's really bulky. He's really strong, which allows him to get to the rim. He is a downhill attacker. Struggles with a jump shot as well, but he's one of the best finishers around the rim at the guard position in this draft, and I think he could thrive in this Heat system due to the fact where the Heat staff has had a history of developing players into excellent shooters. And that's really the missing link for Collier. He can get to the rim. He gets downhill. He uses his quickness and his speed to beat you. And then if he needs to, that bulkiness he has, because he's listed at 220, I believe. That might be a little bit too high. I think he was listed at 205, 210. But he can use that at 6'2" to bump you off defensively and finish at the rim. If he's able to improve that three-point shot and make it consistent at 36, 37%, you're talking about a 3-level scorer in Collier that is also someone who's not afraid to take the challenge defensively and jump the passing lanes and guard the opposing player's top perimeter guard. Like, Collier is someone I probably wouldn't put, like the other 4 guys we've talked about so far, probably would have them above Collier on my board. This is, by the way, I should have prefaced this, not a complete ranking 1 through 5, just some potential targets. But I would probably have Collier last on my list out of the 4 or 5 guys we have talked about thus far. We've talked about a guard. We've talked about a wing. We've talked about a center. Which position would you draft with the 15th overall pick? I'm kind of a best player available type vibe right now. At least that's as things currently stand, but I could be swayed either way. Type G for guard, W for wing, or B for big. I have 6 other prospects I want to just briefly mention to keep your eye on. Nikola Topic, the guard from Serbia, who has a partially torn ACL. I think he's the 3rd or 2nd best player in this NBA draft, but the question is, will he fall due to his partially torn ACL? If he's somehow there at 15, the Heat should take 1 second to get that ticket in because he would be perfect in Miami. Zach Edey, Tyler Kolek, Rob Dillingham, Kyle Filipowski, and Tyler Smith. Topic and Dillingham likely to go in the lottery. The other 4 guys mentioned would probably be on the high side of where their ranges can go if the Heat took them at 15. And specifically with 2 of these guys, Tyler Kolek and Zach Edey. Both of them have worked out for the Miami Heat, so obviously some interest there. I don't see the fit with Zach Edey. I've been very adamant about that. I just don't think it would be a smart pick at 15 to draft at best a backup center because you can't play him and Bam together. Kolek's intriguing, high IQ guy, good defensively, good three-point shot, can facilitate. Not a high ceiling, but a really high floor for Kolek. He would thrive in the Heat system as well, so keep your eye on those 2. And obviously, like I said off the top, be on the lookout for potential other workouts as well. I'll have you covered on my Twitter. Some other second-round targets that I wanted to mention because these 8 players have all worked out for the Miami Heat as well. Jesse Edwards, the big man from West Virginia, formerly of Syracuse. Tristan Inarana from Cleveland State. Sam Griffin from Wyoming. Keyshawn Johnson, Arizona. Tristan Newton from UConn. Zion Pullen from Florida. And then 2 fellas from Clemson and Illinois, Joseph Girard and Marcus Domask. And if I had 3 out of these 8 guys that stand out, and they are all second-round targets / UDFA guys, by the way, Tristan Newton, Zion Pullen, and Keyshawn Johnson stand out to me as targets at pick 43. Newton is a big guard who doesn't have athleticism that is a plus, but plays well. He plays under control, can facilitate, can shoot the 3 ball, rebounds at a high rate. Someone I think the Heat would really like to try to develop as a backup point guard off the bench. Pullen out of Florida, score 15, 16 points a game. He can shoot the rock. And then Keyshawn Johnson from Arizona needs to work on his 3-ball game, but he's someone that plays with a lot of energy, athletic, can be a lob threat on the baseline. And if you lose Haywood Highsmith in free agency, Keyshawn Johnson could be like a long-term replacement for him because the three-point shooting isn't there for Keyshawn right now, but he could develop it, but will give you that defense and athleticism that Highsmith gave you. That will do it for today's episode. Hopefully you are enjoying your weekend. And make sure you give me a follow over on Twitter because I'm talking everything surrounding Heat basketball, and I'll have you updated with everything on the Heat in terms of the NBA draft. Remember, first 10 people to follow me on this video get a follow back. So go give me a follow at Nic_Rohloff. See you with another video tomorrow. Go Heat.